Welcome, everyone. I'm Terry Palma here, and I'm with Beverly and Royce, and this is another episode of Conscious Gatherers. So, welcome. Ladies, are you with me tonight?
Hello. Hello, and good evening, and welcome, everybody, to our episode 52.
52, wow. That's how many weeks there are in a year.
There you go. Well, it's going to be, we're at least 1 3/4 years into doing this, and it's really been quite a ride and interesting, and I love doing this. So we just hope that you all love hearing us and what we have to share.
Perfect. Royce, you with us?
I am here.
Very good. Excellent. So I guess we have a variety of things to talk about tonight. And I think, Bev, you were going to start us off, and maybe Royce, and then I'll bring in some stuff, and we'll see if we can tie it all together, and see if there's anybody at the end that wants to ask questions, which I doubt. Usually people come on and do the comments on YouTube. So, Bev, I'll let you go with it.
All right. Well, I'm going to start off because I was listening to actually a lady named Suzanne Geisman, if I said her name correctly. And she was a recent story she was talking about, recent video she was talking about, and she was talking about the word archetype. And so I was like, yeah, I do remember writing about the archetype and what does that mean, et cetera, et cetera. So that got me doing a little bit of research. And even though this is in my writings, I just don't remember everything because there's just too much, and a lot of information just takes me a while to integrate into my being, at least consciously. So I thought this would be an interesting place to start because we have been talking about getting to really know ourselves, becoming consciously aware of who we truly are. And we've talked about this basically at all of our episodes, but we're going to go into it a little bit deeper tonight. And then Royce has more to share, and information that came through today and the other day, and also things that came to me, and then also from some of my writings. But I'm going to go into the word archetype and what does that really mean? And we are told, okay, archetype, does that mean it's really real? Yeah, it is, because we made it real. And so, but you can look at it like this. Creation is an archetype or a prototype form. Interesting words, right? And it's really what we're talking about in this discussion that we're talking about today is really about our physical being. And then it goes in deeper than what our physical being truly is. But I just thought some of this information was very interesting that I pulled from my writings, and then asked about some things that are going on today. And I just thought you all that are listening would also appreciate some of this information. All right. Here's what I was told. Always use discernment in anything that you hear. And even from what I say, and if it feels right for you, then it is. If it's not, okay, so be it. But I just understanding that we're just truly magnificent beings. Anyway, I'm going to go into our biological form. What is it? And I'm not going to go into it's a little bit in the DNA, but really it's built. I was told it was built upon the foundation of the 7 rays. Of course, that's Roy G. Biv, or red, orange, yellow, blue, green, blue, violet. Okay, so the 7 rays. And we are to maintain our biological knowledge throughout our evolutionary change. All knowledge will be coded. I think this is really important. All knowledge will be coded, CODED, within every cell structure and every atom, so nothing will ever be forgotten. Love of Creator will live within all and know of its greatness through all beings. Eternity is, and all life exists with the moment. All moments shall stretch into waves of electrical currents, pulsing within the liquid light. Spheres of consciousness shall result, all connected by the magnetic frequencies pulsed from the great central sun. So, this is life in this region we call the Milky Way, our planetary stars, is really a focus for this biological life of the form. And we have the capabilities to become the masters of evolution. And it's one of the things that we have been, I'm going to say, built, designed, created, all of that. So focused intent is from other planetary systems, because there are also many biological beings from other planets, as we know, as well as just the consciousness from other planets that may not have the physical body as we know it. But anyways, the planetary systems that, and I think many of us already know that we're from, if you want to even call it that, because we're from everywhere. So you can't even pinpoint a spot, but maybe where we have enjoyed a lot of our so-called physical or biological life on other star systems. And I know one I'm fairly close to is Sirius, but it seems like a drama that keeps coming up for some people, and I think we're going to discuss that in just a bit. But some of the main ones that were helped with the original design, so to speak, is Arcturus, of course, Andromeda, Sirius, and the Pleiades. So I think many people already know this information, but it's just really understanding how we all work together. All right, I had asked a question. This is just a few days ago, because, hearing that all knowledge is coded within every cell structure and every atom, so nothing will ever be forgotten. I think that really hit me hard this time. And I thought, well, wait a minute. And some of the, I think I can say it on YouTube right now, and that is the vaccines have been, some of them have the mRNA in it, and a lot of people are saying, now this is going to affect our coding within our cells, or affecting our DNA. And so I asked that question, and here's the answer I got. It said, yes, there have been genetic manipulations going on in what you call your linear timeline. However, this original coding cannot be turned off. What has happened is with the chemicals in the vaccines has coated, that's COATED, the cells, so there is a slowdown of memory that becomes available in the waking up process. This coating will eventually slough off. Remember, nothing can stop this process. And so even though they're saying it may slow it down, that doesn't mean that's for everybody. So keep that in mind. We don't want to scare anybody, but it's nothing can stop this process. We are the masters of evolution. That's one of the things that we come into this form to experience. And so all these other forms that we also are part of or work with, whatever, all of that. I was also told it is time to step it up in acknowledging our capabilities and then acting on them. And they said, this you can all do. So remember that. Acknowledge your capabilities and act on them. So, I mean, we've been saying that. Stand up, speak out, all these things that keeps coming up more and more and more. And what's going on in the world, a lot of people saying, hey, you're not going to mask us, or you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that, because we don't want to lose our freedoms. And also, it's time for us to speak up, because we're no more manipulations, basically. So I just think that's interesting because we are going through such times now. To me, it's pretty incredible. Before I go on, do either of you have any comments to make?
No.
I'll let Royce go.
I didn't have anything. Did you want to?
Yep. No, I was just find it interesting. Also, that lady that brought that stuff through, she was channeling. What was her name again, Bev?
Suzanne Geisman, if I said her name.
Geis. Her history is she was a Navy commander for the U.S. Navy, and after she retired, and I don't even know if it was after retired, but she's been doing this, channeling and bringing information forth. So I found that quite interesting from a lady that was very disciplined, very much involved in U.S. government. A commander in the Navy is pretty high up there, and here she is channeling and sharing information spiritually, which I found quite interesting. I relate to that because my one of my sister-in-laws retired from the Navy as a commander, so I know the discipline she went through and saw a lot of what she did and stuff. And so, it's quite amazing that a Navy commander comes through and starts channeling, and I found that very interesting.
Well, yeah. And she doesn't come off strong or anything like that, but, she tells her story, and here it is. And, I like her forthrightness and all of that because she's speaking up and she's speaking out. So, and that's exactly what we're doing by bringing on these, our awakening process of why we're doing these podcasts. So here we are. All right. Oh, one thing, last night, I tend to have things that fall off of shelves or whatever. It seems to happen often. So I don't get wild like what the heck was that? I mean, I hear sounds and then finally I just said, all right, what's going on? Who are you? All those things. It's like, come on, enough's enough. I'll listen to you next time. Just keep knocking my bottles and stuff off. But anyway, it happened again last night. And so I sat down and wrote the following. And the first words I heard, the game is ending. And they said, forces known to you as the benevolent ones are surfacing to acknowledge what has gone on in your current timeline and what is to come. When one is read, then the forces will convene and explain to your world that the fire is out. The burning sensation will sting, yet new growth will take its place. For this we say, well done and Godspeed. Before your work is done, we give gratitude for your fortitude in the endeavors you have and will put forth. So, pretty interesting. I was questioning, okay, what does that mean? We'll explain to your world that the fire is out. And I think, Royce, you explained it to me earlier.
Well, when you're you have a forest, it will be overgrown, unhealthy, really, if there's a bunch of undergrowth. And one way of getting that taken care of is to have a fast burn, to burn out the undergrowth so that the rest of the forest can be more healthy. So it's like getting rid of that which no longer serves.
Yeah. So, and that's what's happening today. And I think this week has been quite a week internationally. A lot of things going down. And we were told that was going to happen, and it's happening. So, but that's basically what I wanted to share today. Remember, the shields, it's a word that I've been given. Shields are down, allowing each one of us to glimpse into an era of understanding, remembering that the most basic of all matter is your creation, or our creation, all of ours. It's your creation. We're doing this. So remember, again, our capabilities, stand up, speak out, all of these things, and understand who we truly are. Pretty amazing. And so I know, Terry, you have some things, and Royce is ready to give some information. Then Terry, we're going to let you, fill us all in with all the information you have too.
All right, Royce, go ahead.
Okay. Before meditation today, I was just thinking, putting the intention out there about what I wanted to happen through me for this podcast, to share courage, inspiration, truth, and love. And so this is what came through. Your courage is what you share. Your truth is what you share. Your love is what you share. All else is as it is, moment by moment, piece by piece of this immensely complicated and beautiful puzzle called life. And by your courage to go through the puzzle, you inspire. We never lose hope and trust in that which is playing out on the playing board. We never lose peace and modestly defiant movement, for it is all as the lines of a perfectly written play, all of it leading to an end, expected or unexpected. What garment shall you be wearing tomorrow? It is for you to determine, and it is for you to enact. Be the light in thought, word, and deed, and all shall be well within you, for there ye shall know peace. Our stars align with your galaxy when the moon is full. That is on October the 20th. But our hearts align together on the new moon, which is tomorrow, October the 6th, a time to begin anew. We are your sister galaxy, the great Andromeda, awaiting the reunification of us all. So if you wouldn't mind, have your thoughts on Andromeda tomorrow as we experience the new moon, and see what comes of it all. It's a time of new beginnings.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Terry?
Yes. So, in the past, we've talked about, at least I've talked about that, and my personal belief system, that what we are experiencing here in physicality right now as humans is a virtual reality. And that virtual reality was created by God for my belief up until a certain point was so that we could experience ourselves and create ourselves and learn who we are. And so I've been reading a lot of Neville, and I like Neville because Neville tells you, from my standpoint, the truth and how to do things, how to actually prove to yourself the things that he says we are and what God is. And he gives you things to do, and very simple things to do, simple, but you need to work at it to prove and test the theory he has. So what I'd like to do is read, and so because my thinking of a virtual reality, he likes to call it a play. So let me read some stuff from Neville, and this is all through all of his works. This comes through. So he tells the story of everybody that life itself is a glorious play, which was conceived by God, directed by God, and every part is being played by God. That is world is like a glorious poem, which exists not for itself, but for the one who conceived it. Falling in love with the world God had conceived, he wanted all of the characters to exist for themselves. But finding no one to play the parts, God died to his true identity in order to take upon himself the limitations of the characters in his play. Now playing the part of every individual, God experiences all of the tribulations of being man, until he awakens in the character he is playing. I know I am Neville, a character in the play, but I also know I am God. This lady who only a few minutes ago, and he's talking in a lecture, and he spoke about a woman who told him he was the greatest thing ever, who only a few minutes ago told me I was the greatest truth teacher in the world, was so shocked she never came back to the other lectures, too shocked to hear that, we are God. She had expected me to conform to her little concept of God, and I did not. Instead, I boldly proclaimed that we were all God, even though we are not all aware of it. Unless the story told in the Gospels concerning Jesus Christ awakens and unfolds in the individual does not know that he is the Christ. Paul found Christ to be his human imagination and urged everyone to test it himself. Like Paul, I urge you to test your human imagination. You do not need the money or the time to go anywhere in your imagination, yet you can put yourself there, just as though you had made the trip. If you do, and your circumstances change so that the money and the time appears, allowing you to go, have you not found Jesus Christ to be your imagination? This is what Scripture teaches, but man has personified the story and made Jesus Christ into a little idol to bow before, when the true God is the human imagination. All things are made by the human imagination. Imagine something that is not now a fact. Persist in your imaginal act, and when it becomes a fact, you will have found God. And once you have found him, never let him go. At the end of the drama, it is said that one who knew Jesus betrayed him. Now, in order to betray someone, you must know his secret. So the one who knows the secret betrays him. That one is self. God is self-revealed. Unless God reveals himself to you, how will you know him? Turning to those who did not know him, Jesus said, "Know that you have found me. Do not let me go, but let all these go. Let every belief of a power on the outside go, but do not let the belief in your powerful imagination go, for truth is within you. You will find the maker in yourself. Then, no matter what arguments the priest may give, do not believe them, for the Christ you seek is the human imagination." If God is in you, is there any place where God is not? And if there is no place where imagination is not, where would you go to be where you want to be? If everything penetrates you, then you must choose what you want and adjust yourself into the feeling that you are already there. You will know you have arrived when you view the world from there. And, all his works are like that. And he tells you, you can do anything. And I've got a new book I'm going to be reading and sharing with you as the weeks come about Scripture. And he takes the Scriptures and shows the truth in the Scripture, not the lies and the interpretations that the church wants, because that's power. And, they want power and dominion over you. You have to go through them. And that's not the case. Obviously, if we are God who left himself and became unknown to himself until he awakens to himself to know who we are, in the Scriptures, it says the truth will set you free. You just have to know what it is. And Moses found God. He found who he was, because when in the story of Moses on the Mount, who did God say he was? God didn't, he said, "I am." And then when they were asking Jesus, "Who are you?" He says, "We're looking for Jesus." And Jesus said, "I am." He didn't say, "I am he, I am Jesus." He said, "I am." And they kept asking, "Well, who are you?" And he kept telling them, "I am. I'm the one you're looking for. I am." And it's fantastic interpretation. Of course, this is my take. Obviously, it was Neville's take. And I believe in what Neville says. He has amazing stories of people after people in his life that used your human imagination to create in that world, and it manifests shortly at some point thereafter in your world. And he says, and I don't know how, and I don't need to know how, because God takes care of all. And it makes sense and there's only one, and if there's only one and we are one, I and my Father are one, then it makes sense that there's only God, and God's playing out all these roles until we realize who we are. And so with that, I'll leave it and bring more next week. to this episode. But I encourage everyone to go read Neville Goddard, Goddard. I think he wrote 10 books, a lot of lectures. They're all available on the internet. Any one of them is fantastic, and he explains what's going on. Back to you, ladies.
Yeah, thank you, Terry. And to me, it just all flows together. And, you mentioned the human imagination is creating that world. And sometimes we may feel stuck. And where are we letting our imaginations go? Or are we going by our old perceptions, which, closes down, that has limitations?
So we create in our minds, in our thoughts, new archetypes, and we tear down the old.
There you go. And it's happening now. Yeah, we're creating the new archetype of humanity. So all the past conditioning is starting to waver, and we're allowing our naked selves to step into the new way of being. Well, another way of looking at it. And we're allowing this. It's in this allowance. Of course, that's awakening to who we truly are, and that the true God is us, or all part of that.
Remember, it's not us, Bev, Royce, or Terry. That's the mask that God is wearing. And that mask, when we realize and take off the mask of who's really directing all of this, because any thought, any action we take was brought about by God's thought, and simply by acknowledging, thank you, Father, we know that, because everything is only through him and done by him. But it's not a little person or a big person or someone in physicality somewhere else. It's within us, always with us, and it's our wonderful human imagination. And that's God, and that's Jesus, and that's all of the disciples in the Bible who awoke and said, I am, realizing who they are. Because I am is the unconditioned creation, and the ever follows I am is the conditioned creation that we create from the I am.
Very good. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate that. And
Absolutely.
I hope you all heard that, the I am, the unconditioned creation. It's us. It's our creation. New archetype is being born.
And the truth is out there all over the place. Look at Ho'oponopono, which is the ancient Hawaiian mystical school in spirituality. What did they teach? What are they still teaching? Everything in your world, any person you run into, any experience you have, it is a result of you inside bringing that to your attention. No one else created it. If you're sick, you brought it to yourself. If you're wealthy, you brought it to yourself. If you're poor, you brought it to yourself. It's there for you to learn from something. You can't blame anybody for it. And that's what Neville's saying, and that's the same stuff. So it's out there. But and the Ho'oponopono is the only other place where they've given a way to change the outside. Their way was very simple. It's more of a prayer. And if something bothered you, or you want something changed that you're not satisfied with in your world, you simply say, whatever that is, whatever caused me to make that happen in my world, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. That's the Ho'oponopono way. Neville's way is be in the desire, be in the intent fulfilled. He gives an example that I was in New York. I wanted to go to Barbados. I didn't have the money to do it, and what I did is I went to sleep that night before. I had the intention, and I slept in Barbados. I saw myself in Barbados, and I fell asleep sleeping in Barbados. And 2 weeks later, his parents would send him money and our ticket to go to Barbados. Just one example he uses, and he's got lots of them throughout his book. And so his way, as opposed to the Ho'oponopono, is have a desire, see the desire fulfilled. And another way to do that is have your friends saying goodbye to you. Have a good trip. Live it, feel it, actually be there in completeness. And once that's done, you don't even know how it works, because God takes over and it's done. Because it said, ask and it shall be given.
Mm-hmm.
It all makes sense when you start putting the pieces together, but no one's telling you the truth. Hopefully we are, and you glean that, and you can change your circumstances. I believe in it wholeheartedly, that a person can, like that movie about The Knight's Tale, you can change your, he was a pauper, he wanted to be a knight, and say, well, you can't change your status or who you are. And he believed he could, and he did. So just go ahead. If you want to change your status, you want to change your circumstance, just do it. See it as fulfilled, and it's a done deal. Test it. Don't take my word for it. Test it. Mm-hmm. That's it, ladies, for me.
Very good. Well, the other words that come to me is that it's not the God out there. It's the source that you are, the source that is within you, and that's the way it's your consciousness that you are a part of. I think that goes along with what you're saying, Terry.
Well, yeah, and again, let me. I'm sure you meant something different, but the words came out that you're part of. No, you are. You're not part of. You are. It's like you're not part of the ocean. You are the ocean in a small piece. That's important differentiating. It's not that I take a part of the ocean and I'm part of it over here. No, this little piece I am is entire ocean that sits within me, or the entire creator is within me because I am him. That's very important to understand.
Yes, that goes along with when we started out this podcast, that all knowledge will be coded within every cell structure and every atom.
Right. Yeah.
It's already there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been there. In some other writings, he says everything, and you've heard this before, that all of creation has already happened and everybody's returned. And so there's nothing that you can experience that already hasn't happened. And that's another thing that he says, because it's just that we are awakening at different times and different things, and anything you can conceive has happened. And another part, and I don't know where in the Bible, but it says, God says, I created and experienced evil. I experienced joy. I do all of those things. Okay, and that's what each individual who's wearing the mask of God that he doesn't know does all those things, and that's why God can experience them. And there's no judgment there. It's just experiencing what happens. We're the ones that put the judgment on it. We don't know what it's for. We don't need to judge or condemn or evaluate. Yes, there are horrible atrocities. That's based on where we believe and we think and we're doing. That's a whole nother subject to get into. But this is all starting to come together for me. It might not for you, the listening audience, and even Bev or Royce. We each awaken to our own truth, and whatever that truth is, it is truth to us and might not be the truth to someone else. And that's perfectly okay and makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It is. It does. Yeah. I've said numerous times, it's the experience, whatever we want to experience. And that is what I get from what you're saying, and Neville is saying, that's God experiencing. So it just is.
Yep.
Just
and
is.
We're 7:35. Wow, time flies.
Yeah, and it goes fast. Well, that was I think a great discussion, and I think a lot was shared tonight for listeners to ponder on and to understand, again, who they truly are.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so
we're all amazing.
What's that?
We're all amazing.
Yeah, we are. Beyond amazing. So our next session will be on the 19th of October, in 2 weeks. Again, 7:00 p.m. Same bat station, same bat time. So, ladies,
right.
the final goodbyes or whatever statement you have?
Well, I just want everybody to know how much I and all three of us love you, and I can see you as that beautiful light that you are, and I thank you so much for being here right now.
Yes. Yes, and we all volunteered to be here as God to bring in this new archetype of humanity, of being in the physical, and all the nations coming together, and that's, be it Andromeda, Sirius, Pleiades, and so many are involved in all this. But again, all of, if you want to call it them, are also us. So
Absolutely.
it's us coming together within ourselves. That makes sense. So thank you. I think it was a great conversation tonight. Appreciate it.
Well, very
Royce
good.
and Terry.
Thank you both for your inputs and your insights. The listeners, until the 19th, be good, have fun, and test out what we talked about tonight. And with that, we'll say good night. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.